So, Cryptic Studios just had a Q&A reward stream to talk about, yes, indeed, rewards with producer Brett Norton and system designers Miku. They answered questions from the chat just here, as well as those previously posted on the forums. Also, be warned, don't be fooled by any imposters who's trying to use my name within the Twitch chat. My name is this just here. So let's jump straight into the summary. Someone asked about the Dragon Hunt chests. What rewards can we expect to see from there? I went through a whole bunch of different ones, and you basically can't re-roll. You just get rough astral diamonds, and you can occasionally get some bit of premium loot like unbind tokens, companion upgrade tokens, and a few other things. And yes, they're indeed supposed to be there. Somebody asked about the SilStor weapons. Will they be unbindable? These are from the Ascendancy store. We have the Mirage ones, but none of the others. And they said possibly if the community make a push for it. Someone asked, will all rewards in chests be unboundable? Will they be always sellable? And they said moving forward, yes, that's what they like to try and do. That's what they would like to try and do. However, except for endgame stuff where you get like gear, that's usually going to be bound because it's a show of your skill within the game and your achievement to have like the top end gear. That usually won't be sellable until maybe later down the line. Somebody asked why players can still find enchanting stones rank 6. I'm very puzzled to see them there as well when they have actually no use in the game right now. Well, they won't be any more available within Module 23, at least from new content, and there's possible future plans for them, and I assume there would be. Potentially, we're going on to higher ranks and we might need them. Someone asks about heroics. Will the rewards get better with Module 23? And basically, no. Someone asks about stronghold rewards. Potentially, will the food get like buffed up? And they make no promises. But yeah, they would like to make sure the consumables are still in line with the current setup of the game. The executive producer promised that they would indeed work on a roadmap moving forward after Dragon Slayer's launched, and they've got that work behind them. Someone asked, is there going to be any plans to get higher quality drops of collars and also enchantments from chests and such? And there's no immediate plans. Dungeons and Trials and Skirmishes, somebody asked, is the chest count going to be standardized? Are you going to have one with a key and one that's free? You look at Svargborg and there were 3 chests all needing a key. And this is going to be changed actually within Svargborg, and you're only going to have 1 chest free and 1 chest with a key, and you can use any faction key. And that's especially to go forward with the way they're increasing the drop rates of certain items. They also, yes, fixed Master of the Hunts so that the chests will now accept rerolls instead of just using astral diamonds. The big news, Band of Air. They have said essentially there's some technical issues with it. Basically, it can proc off procs. We look at a current endgame DPS build, and we're all using this Mythalar set with the Band of Air, and that's because the proc from the Mythalar set can proc the Band of Air. You are ending up with things like that as well on other areas that procs can procs, and so you can end up with getting a lot more Band of Air procs than you should. And so this is probably going to be their first step going forward that they're going to fix, which will indeed nerf the Band of Air by a bit. However, we shall still see it as one of the top rings out there for dealing damage, especially on some classes that can hit very quickly in short periods of time. And overall, yes, its effectiveness will thus be nerfed. Again, they want to keep in mind that just by simply nerfing it, they'll make a whole bunch of people sad because so many people rely on it, and they don't want to end up with like a knee-jerk reaction from the community because yeah, everybody who's using it will be definitely very sad. At least I will be one of those. It took me half a year to get the damn thing with a lot of repetitive grinding, and so it was a good reward for the time invested to get it. But yes, it does kind of dominate the meta by making us use certain gear items to essentially make the most out of just this one ring rather than using things to focus more on our overall damage of our encounters, our dailies, etc. Moving on, somebody asked about why not just bring out more powerful items rather than nerfing things. You could just come out with a better Ribcage and leave it as it is. You could just come out with a better ring than the Band of Air if you wanted them to go for something new. And they said, well, when things are like this unexpectedly dealing a lot more damage or being a lot more effective than they initially intended, well, they feel they need to reduce it down so that they have a better baseline, so that they don't have to keep making more and more powerful items to incentivize the player base. And by doing that, introducing a lot of power creep into the game, and they don't want to end up having to do an entire combat rework all over again. Somebody asked for an exchange for mounts and companions that you may already have. Let's say you have the new battle pass and you have a companion pack and you have all the companions. Can't you just then trade those in and get like some companion upgrade tokens instead? And they said, yes, they will look at this moving forward with companion packs. Let's say give an option of, let's say, some consumable or some upgrade tokens within that pack that you could choose instead of the other rewards that you may already have. Someone asked about the Neverwinter recruitment event, and they said, yes, in the next few months, the rewards will be updated and it may possibly come out. Someone asked about companion rewards in dungeon chests, and yes, they said they're making a refresh to that. There should be a lot more companions available in the chest pool, and you should also see then a higher drop rate of them with module 23. Someone asked, can you give the option to open the auction house while you're inspecting a chest, and you could then have the option to reroll? And they said absolutely, this would be a very good thing to implement, and they completely agreed with it, but they're going to look if that's feasible and how much effort that would take them, of course. Someone asked about VIP reroll tokens. You currently, I believe, get 3 per day, and there will be no change to that, despite doubling the value of reroll tokens. The Wondrous Bazaar, they want to add more things to it and essentially, yes, indeed have more enticing things available there and keep rotating through it to essentially bring down the Zen backlog. That's definitely their intent with putting items on the Wondrous Bazaar. Somebody asked about weapon and armor illusions, possibly have a preview ability, and they said, yeah, that would be a great idea. They'll look into it. And bringing back older illusions like the brilliant energy, they indeed said, yeah, those are also items they could possibly bring back in some events or some battle pass or something or other. Somebody asked about bringing back the Alliance Battlehorn. It's an item used by especially wizards to get their daily powers a lot more often, and so somebody asked, would that be able to come back? And they said, absolutely, probably in the Wondrous Bazaar, potentially when CTA becomes an appointment event. We shall see. Someone asked about the cost of rank 1 enchantments. Can they be lowered? They're currently 100,000 per rank 1 and you need a whole bunch of those. And that's about 1 day's grind, 100,000. And they basically said, no, there's no intent to reduce the price unless, let's say, higher ranks get much cheaper. I guess due to just the player base having a lot more of them. And thus, let's say a rank 2 would be much cheaper to just outright buy that than upgrade a rank 1. They'll keep looking at those prices and see, but they're generally a bit slower on that. Somebody asked about account-wide insignias. Can we get account-wide insignias like we have enchantments? For me, that would be awesome. I'd love that. But they said possibly, but no commitment just yet. Somebody asked about collections, and yeah, they said they'll work on it, make sure items are basically contributing to the collections as they should, and potentially down the line giving an option to spend your collection points on something. Some people have crazy amounts of collection points, and it's only right to reward people who are collectors like that. Somebody asked about PvP rewards. Is there plans at the rewards becoming available again? Are they going to refresh any of the PvP seasons? And essentially, no. PvP is going to be dead for quite a while. We'll see if they bring back the seasons or not, but they did say they do have some plans at looking at the rewards and at least making them somewhat more accessible. And with that, lastly, somebody asked about Insignias, Insignia powder and its accessibility, and indeed, it should be a lot more easier to obtain insignia drops throughout the next module. You get them all the time from just killing your dragons as well, like blue ones, and then you can convert them to powder or sell them, whatever your needs may be. So with that, in my opinion, the stream wasn't all that interesting. 1 or 2 things there that I went over, namely the Band of Air. Interesting that, yes, they're going to be looking at, air quotes, fixing it, making it not proc off other procs, which is fair enough, and it was a bit broken when it did when the Mythalar set came out, and that just made the whole thing even more reliant on the Band of Air. Overall, we'll struggle a bit more in terms of end game dealing maximum damage, but I'm sure we'll manage. I'm worried about class balance. It still is a bit skewed and will always be. Nerfing the Band of Air will definitely punish some classes more than others, and we'll see what happens. So with that said, hopefully I presented this well. If I did, consider leaving the video a like. If you're new around here, consider subscribing. We'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.